Hello, friends. It's your old pal, Johnny Bottles again. I was just sitting here thinking about the state of classic rock music, the way it is nowadays. Do your classic rock heroes of yesteryear still have what it takes today? We're going to be taking a look at some of your favorite classic rock artists, singers, if you will, frontmen and a front woman who might not have what it takes anymore. They're still out there doing it. They're out there still making the bucks, but the audiences may be suffering. We're going to take a look at John Bon Jovi. A lot of people say that he doesn't have what it takes. We'll be the judge of that, or rather, I'll be the judge of that. We'll take a look at that right now. Let's see what he's got. This is Nashville from last year when he was doing tour with the band. Living on a Prayer. And as you can see, note to self, when you're in your 60s, don't try to rock out and dance anymore in public. Thank you. Wow. It's not even a question of being in tune. It's a question of having power in your voice. What happened to this guy? This is the audio equivalent of Elaine Bennis dancing on Seinfeld. If you've ever seen that episode of Seinfeld. Soccer mom here in the background, singing along to John. Looks like me. Looks like me back there in my shitty band t-shirt. What in God's name? I'm not sure what we just heard, what we just witnessed. Cash grab, maybe? Does he need the money? They were the kings of hair metal. Well, arguably in the top 3 kings of hair metal back then in those days. Good Lord Almighty. Oh, I feel like I just witnessed a wreck on the highway, and I had to slow down and take a look. That's all I can say about John Bon Jovi. John, it's time to hang it up, dude. All you're doing right now is embarrassing yourself. That was horrendous. I don't know if he's got any health problems, any kind of health issues. I don't know. But something's wrecked that man's voice. Maybe a little too much bourbon and Marlboros. I have no idea. If anybody knows, drop us a line. Good God Almighty. Shifting gears right now to a band that is, I think they've been around for 50 years, if I'm not mistaken. 50 years. They started when they were, as the Scottish say, wee lads. I was really entranced by these guys back in the 1980s, man. I loved the album High Fidelity, a great crafted, a very well crafted rock and roll album. It was very, very well produced, well played. I love Ken Cronin's vocals. He's got that folksy Midwestern charm, twang to his voice. I love all the guitar work. The guitars were the very, very underrated guitar work of the late, great Gary Richrath. Look him up. Gary Richrath is an unsung guitar hero from yesteryear, from the 70s and from the 80s. He was unbelievable in his work, impeccable guitarist. He was with it for years, one of the founding members of the band. Unfortunately for him, his health declined due to his alcoholism, and he passed away many years ago, but they're still on the road with a replacement guitarist. Kevin Cronin now sort of looks like, if you put a shawl over his head, he looks like my grandmother trying to do poppy rock and roll. He's doing his best to recreate those heartwarming melodies and those fine tenor, wonderful honeyed tenor vocals from the past. Let's see how he fares in the year 2023. This is from Kansas City, the Hartman Arena in Park City, Kansas, from March of this year. Let's check him out. A little Time for Me to Fly. Almost 80 years old, I might add. Original bass player, Kevin Cronin. Everyone else is new. Well, not new, but not the originals. Oh, Alan Gratzer, the drummer, still there. Still the original drummer. I noticed, and you'll notice too, they tuned down the pitch. They're playing the song in a lower octave than what they usually play it in, because he can't hit the notes anymore, obviously. I'd be interested in the scene where this song fit in the actual show itself. In the beginning of the show, the first half hour, when he's got his wind, the vocals aren't strained, the larynx isn't impacted, or is this close to the end? Not bad. Not hateful. Not like he used to be, unfortunately, but not hateful. One thing, I'll tell you one thing right now. Considering that dude's age, not bad at all. He's pushing 80. He looks like someone's lesbian grandmother. But he acquitted himself well. It was passable, serviceable, if you will, when you're all tooted up and had about 4 or 5 adult beverages. Let's go into the next. And I think our next victim is going to be one of my favorite singers of all time. Some people call her the male Robert Plant because she was so heavily influenced by Led Zeppelin and the vocals of Robert Plant. Let's take a look at Ann Wilson. You know, when you're talking about powerhouse rock vocalists, there's always room in the conversation for a female, and that would be the great Ann Wilson. Lead singer of the group Heart. Now, Heart is kind of defunct right now. She's had a bit of a falling out with her sister Nancy Wilson. They recently reunited at an Ann Wilson solo show that she was doing, I believe, October of this year, Santa Rosa, California. And Nancy joined her on stage for some wonderful, we'll be the judge of that, renditions of some Heart classics. Let's see how wonderful they were, shall we? We're going to be joining this song in progress. We're not going to go through the long, protracted intro of Barracuda, where it's a little new lead on the guitar by Nancy. We'll go right into it. Nancy looks great. Ann looks like Ann. What's going on with that outfit? I know she's gained a lot of the weight back that she lost from the bariatric surgery she had, the Lapaband surgery to lose weight. But she looks like the hostess at a Bavarian Schnitzel house. Good Lord. Good band. I give her credit. She's not using auto-tune. There's no backing tracks. Like she's not lip syncing, pantomiming, whatever you want to call it, to the pre-recorded vocals like Frankie Valli from the Four Seasons. When you go to see him, he's 1,000 years old, and it's all studio recordings of his vocals he made back in the late 90s when he had a voice, and they just play those when you see him live and you're paying premium money for it. Same thing with Motley Crue. Vince Neil can't sing anymore. He started to sing on the tour that they were on. I don't know if they're still on tour now, but Vince couldn't do it, so they're using recorded vocals now. I give her credit for not using recorded vocals, but good Lord Almighty. Stay off the road, Ann. Good God. The voice is gone. Your physical appearance, you've just let yourself go. You let your voice go. And I love Heart. Absolutely love Heart. I can't say that enough, but this... She's waddling back to the drum riser for another orange soda and 3 Snickers bars. Nancy Wilson, I commend you. You still have it. You kept yourself in shape. You still have a voice. You still rock out on that guitar. And let's go into another group. Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine. You Should Be Mine. Even their cover of Paul McCartney and Wings, Live and Let Die. I love the work of Guns N' Roses. They were an iconic band ahead of their time, superstars of rock and roll. They were living that lifestyle, coming in your face like a blustery locomotive. I mean, Axl Rose's vocals and stage presence were, they really made him a front man that was unparalleled to all the others out there in the mid-'80s. And however, what's become of his vocals now? I heard they're a little lackluster. Let's check out this Guns N' Roses show. This is, let me see here, from the Ford Idaho Center in Nampa, Idaho, from October 22nd of 2023 of this year. Let's check out this guy's vocals and see if they've passed their expiration date, shall we? All right, let's check this out. Duff McKagan. He's lost a lot of the high register of his voice. And it's never good when you get a phone call from one of your Square Circle Maniacs cohorts while you're trying to record a podcast. I put you on mute, Don Wayne. Anyway, he's lost a lot of the high register of his voice, but it's still serviceable. It still works. The band's top notch. You've got Slash. You've got Duff McKagan on bass. I didn't know Slash was back in the group. That's how out of touch I am with Guns N' Roses, I guess. Let's resume this to see what more he's got.
Welcome to the jungle. Everyone jump on the day. Thoughts of rising rain. You'll never something good. Really hard to reach. You can see my light. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Feel my serpentine. Oh, boys, I want to hear you scream.
Yeah, not a lot of the wind that he used to have for an older gent. I know he wants to put on a good show, but if he wants to keep the power in his voice and not run out of breath when he's singing, don't run around the stage like a nut. Don't do a lot of pacing or anything like that. I don't know. Phil Collins, when he was on tour with Genesis, due to medical reasons, he couldn't stand. He sat in a chair. He didn't lose his wind because he wasn't moving around, but this guy's moving around so much. He's out of breath on these songs, and he really needs to belt these things out with that high register sandpapery voice he's got. I've seen enough, I think. I think it's serviceable, not the best. He's not making a fool out of himself like Bon Jovi, considering they're the same age. Well, the wife just chimed in the middle of this podcast. I had to edit it out. She said that you're a little too hard on Ann Wilson. She's a woman of large carriage, but she's got a big voice. What if she was sick that night? What if she had the flu? What if she had a little bit of laryngitis? What if it was at the end of the tour and her voice was giving up on her? She is a woman in her mid-70s, for God's sake, and she's morbidly obese. Have a heart. I paraphrased you, honey. I paraphrased her tirade to me. So I'm willing to give Ann Wilson's live vocals another chance. Here she is in Quebec from sometime this year. I'm going to join the song in progress because it's got a long, protracted acoustic guitar intro. This is, I believe, Heart's first hit. Crazy on You. And the part of Nancy Wilson tonight will be played by Joe Schlemendrick. Come on, Ann. She looks like Winona Judd's emo cousin. I didn't want to do that. Well, I wanted to pause it. That was like a yeah, the voice is gone. The voice is shot. For full out, full throated vocal rockers like this, the voice is shot. I'm sorry, Ann. I stand by everything I said before. You just. I think appearances here and there when she's not on a full tour, like individual shows with a long break in between, have that voice rest up. I think she could handle herself well there, but this was like a full body drop. Now let's take a look at a group that has wisely packed it in. A group that said, hey, we can't do it anymore. David Coverdale and Whitesnake have called it quits. They've done the right thing by retiring. They retired last year in 2022. And who could forget Is This Love? Who could forget Here I Go Again at MTV, a video favorite that launched their career and the career of the featured model in the video, the lovely and talented Tawny Katane, who passed away a few years back. Beautiful girl, beautiful to the very end. David Coverdale and company do the right thing by retiring and saying, no mas, no mas, enough is enough. Let's check it out. Good looking presentation. Nice stage layout they've got here. This is Here I Go Again, my personal favorite by these guys. From June 6th, 2022, in the beautiful town of Helsinki, Finland. Light 'em up, Helsinki. Where is he? There he is. Richie Sambora's drunken uncle.
Fucking Mars, Helsinki!
Helsinki! He already went into the trope of turning the microphone around to the crowd for them to sing. What a song. What a band.
For the rest of my days, 'cause I'm going please say what to walk around on the street of dreams. Here I go again.
Wait a minute, he didn't just sing that high note, The Lonely Street of Dreams. It was another guy in the band. I think it was Captain Hairdo right here on the right side of your screen. I think Captain Hairdo right here is the one who sang that part. He's succumbed to the trope of turning the microphone to the crowd when you can't hit the notes and let them sing the particular lines or notes that you can't sing. He's doing that a lot. I also admire his work as the pirate on SpongeBob SquarePants because that's what he sounds like now. Let's listen to the rest of this. Arr! Avast, ye lady! Definitely a band member is singing that. Look at a wiggle Coverdale. I wonder how that stays on. I'm with you, baby. I'll tell you one thing, though. His vocals are shot. He's not a screamer. He's not a heavy metal screamer anymore. He can't physically do it. I mean, he was pushing 40 when they became a big act. He was like 35, 36, I believe, in the early 80s when Whitesnake had their creative renaissance. And really debuted, not debuted, they were around for a while, but they had all the big hits. And the hits dried up when the guy who wrote the hits left the group. But, I mean, with, the girl bass player and Richie Sambora's drunken uncle and Captain Hairdo. And what a band. Just a sensational band. I hope these guys stay together and just get another lead singer. And he obviously, I think Coverdale does own the Whitesnake trademarks and proprietary content. So maybe they can lease it from him, have another singer in his place, because these guys kick ass. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. So, with that being said, let me close that out. Yes. Axl Rose is still, he's trying to squeak by. Coverdale and company did the right thing to pack things up. Kevin Cronin and REO Speedwagon. It's not bad. It's serviceable. I'd say it's good, but it's not what they were. Don't go to these shows expecting the REO Speedwagon of old. Don't go to these shows expecting the Axl Rose vocals of old either. And I would say with Hart and Ann Wilson, it's fallen apart, Ann. It's fallen apart. It really has. So, Nancy Wilson is touring as Nancy Wilson's Heart. So she'll be dragging all those songs out on the road with another powerhouse lead singer. But it won't be the same without that voice of Ann Wilson, man. The female Robert Plant of her day. And we have the memories, Ann. We have the memories. We can look back and say, How you tickled our fancy. Folks, I am 1/3 of the Squared Circle Maniacs. We do a bunch of different podcasts on this channel. We do Squared Circle Gridiron, where Dr. Don Wayne, High Desert Ron, and Philly Fitter, they mix it up on the current state of the NFL and the NCAA. And they talk about other topics such as who got hurt this week, the Heisman Trophy candidates so far this year, what's the status of the teams, who's getting fired, and what about that Taylor Swift, huh? We also have Square Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast, hosted by myself and Dr. Don Wayne and the Mighty Motorhead 7-Eleven. We come your way twice a week. We have our general wrestling show. We review the shows of the week, and we chop up the wrestling news as we see fit. Every Thursday night at 7, we also have our Flashback Fridays every Friday night at 7, where we take an old angle from pro wrestling history, an angle that's near and dear to our hearts, and hopefully yours too. And we chop that up, and we go ahead and look at all the ins and outs of the angle. We look at the angles of the angle. And we also do classic rock echoes. Usually I am accompanied by the Mighty Motorhead 7-Eleven, but with his his real world work schedule, we had to make allowances. So hopefully next week we'll have Motorhead back, and we'll delve into the world of classic rock. If you like what you see, please hit that thumbs up button for us. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. I'm having a brain fart right now, folks. And Wilson's vocals have gotten to me. We are the classic rock echoes. Give us a thumbs up. It helps with that YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe. We need the money. Thank you very much, and have a good one.